Hey guys, it's Vince. Today in this video, I'm excited to discuss something I've kind of taken for granted because I have so much familiarity with PCs. But actually, I had a client come to me this weekend, ask me a question, and it reminded me, many of you may not know you're able to do this. And the question we were discussing was he was having system stability problems after having a previously stable system. And he actually adjusted the CPU priority in his Windows processes to support Mach 3 in running real time. And again, I believe he's using Windows 10. And when he made that adjustment, the system stability came right back. Now, many of you may not even know what the hell I'm talking about, but I'm hoping many of you do. And if you don't, stay tuned because I'm going to cover this real quick. What I want to do is make sure that you guys understand the adjustments we're about to make in Windows are really going to affect how the system looks at allocating its horsepower, so to speak, as far as the hardware in your PC, to allocate all that horsepower to whatever software we want to use it for. And in this particular instance, it will definitely go towards Mach 3, UC CNC, or any other motion control software you guys want to work with. Now, you can also set these settings individually for CAM software as well. My recommendations are always set the highest level of priority your PC will support based on its hardware to the actual motion control software you're using, because again, that's where stability comes in to running your system and once again manufacturing. So what I've got open here again is a Windows guide. It's covering the CPU priority in real-time, high, and normal. There's a bunch of different levels you can go with depending on what Windows you're using. For my clients out there or operators out there using something other than Windows 10, no worries. What I'm about to show you with the software that you'll implement is, number one, it's free, and number two, it's applicable to all Windows operating systems. So don't feel left out. You'll be able to adjust these settings in your PC as well. However, that being said, proceed with caution because not all PCs will have the required hardware to support the real-time priority due to the fact that, number one, if once again the hardware is lacking to support applications running in the background, you may actually induce an unstable system. So again, keep that in mind. However, for my guys out there who are using a more modern PC, the ones that I'm hoping to be speaking to, this is a setting that can drastically make a huge difference in G-code processing, any math code processing. And again, we're dealing with a lot of math when we're doing actual machining. So this is imperative for you guys to take notes on and actually go through. So I really hope you watch the video to the end. And once again, take notes. This way you can watch the video and you're learning at two different levels. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to peruse this article to give those of you a little bit of understanding and overview, so to speak, as to what these settings actually do. Because for those of you who already know, great. For those of you that don't, stay tuned because I'm going to start reading and we'll just peruse the sections that really matter. Users are often curious about optimizing the speed of their PCs to personally match their needs. Is it possible? The short answer is yes, but can it be done to a certain limit? Exceeding the predetermined performance threshold of the PC can potentially crash all running programs. In every Windows version, the app runs on a normal priority level with a defined speed to deliver the user a smooth processing speed for all applications. This means the execution of the processes will be considered normal, and the CPU performs at this usual speed. Modern Windows allegedly share your personal computer's CPU resources between running apps. The higher the priority level to prefer foreground applications, the more resources are allocated to the user's processes. Well, that's a lot to be said there because basically what it's telling you is Windows sets a predetermined amount. And again, you can see here there are essentially 6 priority levels available to processes in Windows. Now, of course, different versions of Windows may not have all of these listed. Windows 10 does have all of these. And you can see you got real-time, high, above normal, normal, below normal, and low. You guys can go in, once again, based on what operating system you're using, after watching us go through this, and you'll be able to set what priority level you want your PC to look at the software you're specifically using and allocate all those resources to. So it's kind of like when you go out, I guess a good analogy would be when you leave your house, you would never leave your water on, you would never leave, lights on if you don't have to unnecessarily. basically using resources. This is the same thing we're doing. You want all of your resources for your PC to be allocated to the specific programs we're running, and preferably all of the resources. You want all of your available memory that's not going to destabilize the system, all of your processing power that once again is not going to destabilize your system, and that's what these settings will do. So again, just perusing through, once again, this article is long. If you guys want to check it out, please, by all means, it's mintywhite.com, Windows 10 / CPU priority. And again, you can see the rest, real-time high, and we got slashes in between, of course, and normal explain. Just copy this, and you'll be good with that. I'll actually put this in the video description below so you guys can click on it, check it out yourselves. The user must know when to change the priority. Once again, another good section to read. The CPU shares its processing time with all running processes. It works uniformly and shares intelligently. So it's obvious the program will work, with more work, it's a bigger share of resources. Mostly when everything is working normally, changing their priorities won't make a difference. This I disagree with. Changing the resources manually will make a difference. It's just going to allocate, once again, all of the additional resources that the actual program is not using. And everybody knows, or should know, Mach 3 is not too labor intensive on most modern PCs. And I say modern PCs because the older the computer is, the lacking of speed it typically has. If you're running 2 gigs of memory on, a 1995 PC, you're going to find that usually stability issues will be present. And some guys are lucky and some guys are not. I'm telling you now, your best bet is to use a modern PC with Windows that is fully supported still. Operating systems like Windows XP, Windows Vista, they've been discontinued. So again, they're not supported. So keep that in mind. When several computationally intensive programs are working together simultaneously, processing time may be oversubscribed. You may notice that programs run slower than usual because there's not enough processing time to share between all of them. In such cases, reordering the priority of processes can be helpful. You could lower the priority of one of the computationally intensive processes to free up more processing time for other programs. Alternatively, you could increase the priority of a more important process to you and that you want to run faster. And that one sentence says it all. I mean, that's basically where we're going. Again, some crucial points to remember while setting priority for frequent changes for any app. Install priority tools on your computer. I'm going to show you that. So what I'm going to show you, for those of you that already understand how to set priority, not only am I going to show you how to set the priority, I'm going to show you how to make it permanent setting for that specific program. And you can allocate it to specific programs, which once again is a beautiful thing, considering many of you will just run Mach and you want to forget about this setting once it's been predetermined. Reordering the priority in Task Manager can sometimes do more harm than good, as it may not leave enough CPU power for other processes on your system. You would be better off if you upgrade your system to support demanding applications users want to use. Once again, eliminate the old PC if the hardware doesn't support it. If you notice system instability, once again, when you're actually making these adjustments, that's something you're going to want to look at. If a user wants to improve CPU allocation for a game or any other application, set the game on high priority and make sure no other process is running at chief priority. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to substitute that whole theory on using a game in this analogy and change it to Mach 3. Same principle. Although the user can change the priorities according to the need, the priority is on site permanently. Once you restart your system, Windows forgets your custom priorities and assigns the default process priority. That is the biggest downfall. For those of you who don't watch this video and you think you understand how to change the priority, many of you do, you'll change it. When you restart the system, it reallocates normal level priority to whatever application you're running, which sucks. And that just puts it mildly. So what we're going to do now, once again, you'll have this. I will once again put this link here so you can check out exactly what this does, because again, I want you guys to learn. I don't want you just to sit here and digest what I'm saying just to do it. You should do it to your system and then digest what this actually does, because that's how we grow all the way around. So now what I'm going to do is close this, and what we're going to do is we're going to come up here, and this is the software you want to download. It's called System Explorer. Okay? It's going to give you a lot of detailed information about task processes, modules. You got a lot of different things you can do with this. It is completely free. Okay, you're just going to click on this to download it. Now I've already downloaded it to my desktop, so I'm not going to do it. Very simple to do. Once you get the file, here it is. I'm going to walk through it again. I'm going to install it just like you would. Once again, when you download it, it's most likely going to end up in your downloads folder. If not, whatever folder you've allocated to for your actual downloads. Click on yes. Express installation is fine. Okay. Okay. So right now, you can see what we've got here. I have got a full list of real-time priorities going on. And this is what's going on in Windows right now. You can see CPU average. It's telling you what your CPU is using. Matter of fact, down here, you can see a lot of different things going on. CPU usage, all that neat stuff. You can come up here, show processes for all users, show Microsoft system entries, show services, show items in tree, and click and drag, select a window. We don't have to get into all this. I'm just showing you what the software has. So what we want to do now is find Mach 3. And of course, Mach 3 is not running, so this will only display programs that are currently running. So what we'll do is we'll shrink this. We'll close this. Okay, program is currently running. We are going to want to come up here. Mach 3. Now that Mach 3 is running, again, I've got a different setup on mine. Many of you may not have a UC100. I've got UC100 on this particular system. So again, whichever way you have it set up, we're just setting it up so the software will be configured for high priority. I'm just going to click OK, hit the reset. Now what we're going to do, because the software is already running, and we will come right here. Here she is. You're going to see something in your taskbar, which is really cool. If you just leave your mouse over it, it's going to show you what allocation is being used right now at that second. And you can see what's actually being allocated to running this program. You can see it coming up and coming down. It's coming up and coming down. It's all over the place right now. So what we're going to do, you can see we've got Mach 3 listed right here. And if I leave my mouse over it, you can see it's allocating and giving you the description. It's giving you the product name. Now what we want to do is we want to right-click on it. And we want to come over here to Process Priority. And you can see it says Idle, Below Normal, Normal, Above Normal, High, and Real Time. We're going to switch it over to Real Time. Now we're going to come up again, do the same thing, and come over to Permanent. Now we'll right-click again and validate that this is checked and Permanent is checked. And you're all set. Now once again, you will set this. Normal is what it's typically set at, and once again I'm using Windows 10. You will set this to whatever settings your operating system will allow. Now certain ones may not go up to real time. I believe Windows 7 does. I believe it does. If it doesn't, go to the highest level you're able to go. And then what you'll want to do is shut off any process or application in the background you're not using. And typically that means any antivirus software. Keep the system as clean as possible. If you're running multiple applications in the back, you want the ones off that you're not using. And when you're using Mach, it's optimal to just use Mach 3. So again, what you see here, you're all good. You can see all the different settings that this software has. I mean, it's pretty crazy what it'll allow you to do as far as a free piece of software. Again, you really don't have to mess with anything else. Once this is set to real time and permanent, you're good to go. Now what we'll do is we'll close out. And you can see I've got Mach 3 up. Okay. And again, I'm not going to do anything with this. What we want to do is validate that it took. So what we'll do is we'll get out of Mach 3. I shrunk it. You can see the program is down here right now. Now what we're going to do is hit Control-Alt-Delete. Come over to Windows Task Manager, because basically what this program is an extension of Windows Task Manager. And you can see right here, Mach 3 is running. You're going to right-click on this. This is in Windows 10, so I'm just right-clicking. And you can see Task Manager does not display anything as far as letting you go in and see the processes until you click Go to Details. Now you're in Task Manager, and now you can see the process is running. You can see it's actually running right here. This, you can see in the generic format, it doesn't show as much information as running System Explorer. So you can see it's set here. I'm going to right click on it. Now you can see set priority, and it should say real time, which it does. Okay, so we know it's set and Windows took it. So now what we're going to do is one more test to validate that when we close out of Mach 3, it will be saved. End session, yes. I'm going to go back into Mach 3. Now Mach 3 is closed. So if I bring up Control-Alt-Delete again, in theory, you shouldn't see it. Okay, and we can do that, but I already know that'll work on this system, so I'm not going to. I'm going to double click again on Mach 3. And we just want to make sure, again, we'll do the same process. We'll click OK, click Reset, shrink her down, and just hit Control-Alt-Delete. Go to Task Manager once again. We're going to do the same exact thing to see if everything took. And you can see Mach 3 is right here. We're going to right-click, go to Details. Here she is again. Right-click again, and set priority, and you can see it took, because it actually memorized in real time, which means if you guys turn off your PC and restart the software at a later time, it's set up to change those registry entries and the processes to be memorized to allocate real-time priority usage to that software. So again, for those of you out there that have had stability issues, for those of you out there who have had, UC100 errors, that's a very common one. If the system is properly grounded, you're using the proper double shielded cables with any USB controller, this will make a difference without a doubt. And if you're not, even if you're using an ESS or, again, using even a DB25 parallel port, it's going to take, once again, all of the processing power available from your system and allocate it to this actual software. So again, very, very powerful option. I hope that this video has been helpful. If you guys have questions, you guys have got to be descriptive in your questions. This is, again, very difficult to analyze, as I'm essentially a mechanic working on a car without it in front of me. If you guys, just due to the fact of the vast variety of PCs that are out there and operating systems, and every PC has different variables as far as applications, you guys have to utilize as much detail as possible if you contact me and you cannot get this to work. But I'm telling you now, if you take your time, go through the video along with your notes that are accompanying the video, you're going to find this will make a difference in many systems. The other thing to keep in mind with USB motion controllers, they're working on a 5-volt voltage. That voltage is very low. Low enough that EMI is very easy to be present, and ground loops will affect that. That's why I always tell you first, there is no replacing a setting in the computer for a poorly built system or a system that's not following best practice. Always remember that. We're not band-aiding situations. We're going through and making sure that we have everything we need set up correctly, and that means covering every detail. All T's are crossed, all I's are dotted. So keep that in mind. Once again, once this is all done and you validated this the second time the way we did, you can close out of here. You're good. And once again, it's pretty cool to watch, and this is something I definitely recommend you to do. As you watch this software, once again with System Explorer running, you can see all of the CPU usage, all the processes. These are processes that are running and taking a percentage of the CPU. You can see here I'm at 32% right now, 37%. And you can see what's actually going on here in the background. Now the system I'm using is an i7, so again we've got a lot of horsepower. I've got 32 gigs of memory, and you can see memory usage where guys are saying, well, you're really not using that much memory. I'm using 21% on a 32 gig system. That's a pretty healthy system for those of you that are very familiar with PCs. So again, you'll be able to check this information out on your system, which is really helpful, especially as you're running any motion control software. I'm running a demo here, and something you can do, let's see, and this is just to check it out. I'm just doing this as a simulator. I'm just running this, and now come down here and you can see exactly how much CPU usage we're using, and this is an i7 CPU. So for those guys out there that say, you know, Mach 3 is not labor intensive. Once again, on newer systems, it's not as labor intensive. But when you're seeing this run, and I'm doing this not hooked to any controller, I'm just doing this in simulator mode, you can see what's actually going on here and what's being allocated as far as CPU usage now that we've turned around real time. So everything is really pumping out that horsepower to support this software. Memory usage is staying stable at 21%. And again, everyone's system is different. Mine's a more or less a newer system. I wouldn't call it new. It's I believe it's like 6 years old as far as laptops go. But a newer system to me would probably be 3 years or under. And you're going to see these numbers usually be even less depending upon, once again, what CPU you're using. But if you've had system instability problems, this is definitely going to be a way to go. I mean, without a doubt. So, again, you guys, I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that you've gotten a lot out of this, and you can play with this yourself. Once again, with System Explorer running, you can see it up here, running in the background. You've got a lot of allocation to learn as far as performance of your system. Matter of fact, there's tabs up top. You can click on Performance. It's showing you your processor usage. And again, on an i7, you can see we've got 8 cores. Got your RAM usage. It shows you everything. I mean, it's very interesting. Connections. I mean, lots of neat stuff. So, again, I hope this video has been helpful. And best of all, software is free. If you guys are having stability issues, once again, correct any hardware-related issue as far as the system being grounded first. Once that's been accomplished, then we do this. That's the way to do it. Do not put a Band-Aid on it and say, well, you know, I don't need to worry about grounding the system. This made a difference. That's not the way to work, guys. So again, I hope the video has been helpful. I will put links in the description of the video for you guys, once again, to review setting actual Windows priority settings, once again, to actually learn the process of what you're actually adjusting. The more you know, the better you're equipped. And to all my subscribers, I love you guys. I'll keep the videos coming. Thank you all for your support. Take care.